passing the ball between each other. And what I'd like you to do throughout this video is while you're watching this video, I would like you to pay particular attention to the amount of times just the girls in the white pass a ball to each other. Okay, so there's a few distractions, there's a few things going on, but just remember just to focus on the girls in the white shirts and count how many times they pass the ball. So if you're wondering, the correct answer was 16. Okay, 16 passes between the girls with the white shirts. But that wasn't really the point of that video. Did you notice anything a little bit strange or weird? Anything going on in the background? Anything else at all that you thought was a bit funny besides the girls in the white shirts passing the ball? What about, for example, did you happen to notice that right through the middle of the video, a big gorilla comes and sort of beats his chest in the middle of the video and walks off? Did you happen to notice that at all? So the aim of this video is to increase your awareness of your awareness. So you may understand what awareness is, you know, it's about knowing what's going on. But the thing is in our everyday lives, something that a lot of us do a lot of the time is that there's so much just going on around us. We can't possibly take it all in, okay? We can't consciously always recognize and be aware of everything that's happening around us. Sometimes there's just too much going on, and there's only so much that the human mind has the ability to take in. So with that being said, I'd like to ask you, did you happen to notice anything else strange about the video? Perhaps did you notice that the curtains went from sort of red to a lighter orange colour throughout the video? So, although we weren't aware of it when we first watched the video, you know, the curtain changed colour, there was a gorilla. Now, the gorilla was always there and the curtain was always changing colour. We just weren't aware of it. We only became aware of that thing when I pointed out to you. If you did notice that things, and you know, congratulations, well done. You've got a very good awareness. But for most people that watch that video, because their focus and their mind was concentrating on counting the amount of throws between the players, these other things sort of go unconscious. They go unnoticed. Now those things are always there. They're just unconscious. When we're aware of something, it then becomes conscious. Okay, we know it's there. We can accept that it's there, and we're aware of it. Now, if we went back to that problem, that original problem we had in the first few videos, that problem that we had that we didn't have anymore, okay, that we went back in time to sort of take a look at. Now, if we go back in time and we look at that problem, isn't it true that as you worked your way through that problem, okay, as you overcame that problem, as you changed your thinking in regards to that problem and you were able to change, isn't it true that you were able to do that because your awareness of that situation changed? Okay, you become more aware of that thing. You became more aware of the particular thing that was holding you back, and as a result of becoming more aware, you were able to then change your thinking and overcome that obstacle. You were able to solve that problem. The reason you overcame it is because the awareness that you have now, you didn't have then. Okay, the awareness that you had then was not what you have now. When we look back at problems, or when we look back at our past, we do have the ability and the pleasure of being more aware of what in particular was going on to us at that particular time. Now, your extra awareness has enabled you to change your way of thinking. The main benefits of coaching therapy, and especially psychotherapy, is that it allows us to become aware of things that we weren't previously aware of. So obviously a big thing in psychotherapy is, you sit down on the lounge and you're talking with your psychotherapist and they start asking you questions about your past. Okay, the reason why they're asking you these questions about your past is obviously they're trying to trace back through time how you got to where you are now, why you are facing this current problem that you're facing, and they like to look back and work out where exactly that problem came from. Okay, because you didn't just wake up one day and seek therapy. You didn't just wake up one day and seek help. Okay, you've probably had this problem for a while. It probably stemmed from something 20, 30 years ago. So that's why psychotherapists do that, and that's why psychotherapy is such a very successful thing, is because it helps you develop your own awareness about these things. Okay, once the psychotherapist uncovers it and you share it and you talk about it, you now have an awareness of this thing, and more often than not, now that you have the awareness, you have the ability to change the way you think about that problem, and you have an ability to actually change. And that's why that particular type of therapy is helpful. Okay, psychotherapy builds your awareness of your problems and where they come from so that we can fix them. Let's have another look back at that video. So if you happen to notice the curtains change color, if you happen to notice the guy in the gorilla, come walk through the stage, did you also happen to notice that one of the people throwing the ball just completely walked off stage? They just disappeared. Sometimes the solutions to our problems are right there in front of our eyes. They're right there. Okay, we can't see them. Just like the gorilla, just like the curtain changing color, it was there. It was right in front of our eyes. We saw it. Okay, we all watched that video, but we didn't notice that. Sometimes the solutions to our problems are like that as well. Okay, they're right there. We're just not aware of them. Okay, because we're not aware of them, we can't see them. So sometimes what we need to do is we just need to look in a slightly different direction. Okay, sometimes the solution is already there. We just need to look in a different direction. We tend only to notice the things that we're expecting to notice. So if we want to have those big epiphany moments, those light bulb moments where we're able to become aware of things and we're able to change, what we need to do is we just need to become more aware of what's going on. Most people only notice the things that, are familiar to them. So most people only notice, things that feel comfortable to them. And what I mean by that is people notice the things that they're expecting. So because I told you guys that I wanted you to count this ball being thrown, you were expecting then in the video to see, 6 girls throwing a ball. Okay, so you expected to see that. What you didn't expect to see was the gorilla and the curtain and that sort of thing. So you didn't really notice that because you weren't expecting it. So sometimes when we have expectations, likewise when we have, beliefs about a certain thing, we tend to only notice those things that fit with those beliefs or those expectations. Okay, we tend to choose to see the things that we agree with, and we avoid sort of looking at the things that we disagree with. In order to become more aware of things, we need to practice looking at things from a different perspective. Now, let me give you a really good example. let's just say 10 things happened, okay? 5 were good, 5 were bad. Now, the more negative person is going to look at the 5 bad things and sort of catastrophize it and think, oh my God, these 5 things happened, it's the end of the world. And they're not going to see all of the good things that happened. Okay, now similarly, the positive-minded person is going to see all the positive things that happen and think, oh wow, this is so great, you know, life's so good, these things happen, they're really good. They're not going to see the negative, okay? But there's a danger in wearing both hats, okay? So let's say, for example, you're driving along in a car and the more positive person doesn't wear their seatbelt because they think, oh, you know, I'm positive, nothing's going to happen, you know, bad things don't happen, everything's positive. They don't wear their seatbelt. They end up in a car accident and they, you know, get hurt because they didn't wear their seatbelt. So from that example, we can see that their positive thinking let them down. Likewise, you've got the negative-minded person that always sees the negative. They don't even want to get in the car in the first place because they think, oh no, if I get in the car, there's a potential risk that we have an accident. You know, seatbelts aren't that safe. You know, the airbags aren't that safe. So they choose not to, you know, get in the car, and then that's not helpful either. So really what I'm saying is that it's not helpful to be a positive person and it's not helpful to be a negative person. What is helpful is becoming a person that is able to juggle both the positive and the negative, okay? And that is a person that has an awareness of everything that's going on, the good and the bad, because in life, and in order to be successful in life, and then also in order to change, we need to be aware of the good and the bad, okay? We need to reward ourselves for the good. We also need to, you know, be aware of dangers, you know, so this, you know, still needs to be that level of awareness that revolves around, you know, negative things. Okay, so what we need to do is we just need to become more aware of the good and the bad. So if it was going to be beneficial for you and in your best interest to just notice, obviously, the players in white and how many times they're throwing the ball, then that's great, you know, and disregard all the other stuff. That's good because that's in your best interest. Now, you know, you win an award, you get the trophy, whatever it is. Okay, now that's good. But if, on the other hand, it was in your best interest to notice the player leaving the stage, okay, so if you had to watch the video and I had to said to you, okay, now who saw the person leave the stage? You just won $1 million. If that was the case, then all of those other things were just distractions getting in the way. So you missed out, you robbed yourself of the opportunity to win $1 million because you were not aware of what was going on. Okay, so we're going to go back in time again. We're going to go back to, you know, your younger self. But this time, what we're going to do differently is you're actually going to become your younger self. Okay? Only this time when you go back, you're going to go back with the awareness and the knowledge of your mature self. Okay? So you're going to go back, you're going to become your younger self, but you're going to have all the knowledge, the experience, and the awareness that you now have. Isn't it true, thinking back, that you're starting to become aware and you're starting to notice things that back in the day you wouldn't have really noticed? You know, things happening that you didn't really pay much attention to back in the day. So what's the difference? The only difference is that now you've matured a little bit more, you have a little bit more life experience, you've got a little bit more knowledge. But the main thing is you're a lot more aware about what's happening, where you've been, where you're going. Okay? You've gone back in time with awareness. The lesson for us here is that it's okay to let go of the things that are not doing us any good to notice, okay? Because I'm sure if, you know, now looking back at your younger self, you know, your younger self probably noticed a lot of things. They're probably aware of a lot of things, but they were probably things that just weren't helpful, okay? They were distractions. You were looking in the wrong place. You know, as I said before, the answers are usually right in front of you. You just don't know where to look. You don't notice them. You're not aware of them. Moving forward, I would like you to direct your attention to the things that are going to be in your best interest, okay, to bring into your awareness. So bring your attention to those things that are going to be in your best interest moving forward. We're nearing the end of this video, but I want to leave you with a question to ponder, okay? So why is it, if all that we have to do is become more self-aware, if all we have to do is become aware of things that we're not aware of, okay? You know, put a bit more time and effort into trying to become aware of things that are happening all around us or within us. If that's all we have to do, then why don't we do that more frequently? Why don't we spend more time and effort? Why don't we practice becoming more aware? I'd like to leave you with that question. I'm going to give you the answer to that question in the next video, but I really want you to spend the time in between pondering that question, okay? So thinking about that. And while you're thinking about that, while you're aware of that, you're going to start to see that you're going to become slightly over the next few days or weeks throughout this course, you're going to start becoming more aware of things, okay? More aware of your thoughts, your feelings, and the things that are going on around us, okay? You're going to become more aware of what's distracting us, what's important for us to know, where does our attention need to be in order to move forward, to live a happier, healthier life. To change your way of thinking, you need to become aware of the things that were previously hiding in your mental blind spots. Because that's where you'll see the missing pieces of the puzzle you'll need to find the changes you're looking for. Now, there's only so much we can be aware of at once. So it's important to look out for the things that are in your best interests. Even if that means letting go of the things that aren't helping you. While self-awareness holds the missing key, we first need to understand what blocks our ability to actually become self-aware. In the following videos, I'm going to show you how to do just that.